Wellness Wednesday, and we're talking fabulous functional fashion for all.
The braille here reads, make inclusion an expectation, not an exception.
The clothing that's empowering and changing lives.
Disabilities do not define us, we define ourselves.
Then, we've got a ghoulishly garlic treat for you this Halloween. Chef Mattine Pettit is cooking with garlic. Thank God I'm not out there single and dating,
right?
Huh? And later, we're going to save you money and help you fight your subscription addiction.
I don't judge you for a second, but were you kind of a little surprised / mortified?
I was disgusted.
It's Cityline with Tracy Moore.
So good to see you. Thank you so much for coming out. I love the enthusiasm. Welcome to Cityline and happy Wellness Wednesday, everyone. Today, we're going to help you tame your subscription addiction and share the secrets to surviving this cold and flu season. That's all coming up later. But first, let's talk inclusive style with Miles Sexton, everyone. Hey! So good to see you, Miles. It is always fantastic to see you, and I'm happy that we're going to be talking about this. We all deserve to have clothing and fashion that we can put on and get into.
Absolutely.
So you've done a roundup of adaptive looks for us, but can you first start by just explaining what adaptive fashion is?
Absolutely. It's about like a curation of pieces that are designed for people that have different like forms of disabilities. You know, so something that for myself as an able-bodied person, you know, I don't realize how, you know, it's easy for me to get dressed every single day, but for so many people that are out there, it's actually really difficult. Things like buttons or zippers can be areas of difficulties. So I'm going to show you a whole group of Canadian designers today that all do adaptive clothing, which is so cool.
You always bring us incredible Canadian brands, and I love the fact that all of these looks are adaptive. So let's bring out our first model, Taylor.
Yay!
She is accessed by Tay on social media. She's known for her accessibility reviews, which is awesome. So tell me, hi Taylor, thanks for joining us. Tell me a bit about Taylor's look.
Absolutely. So Taylor is wearing a full head to toe by June Adaptive with another Canadian designer. Now, something that's really cool about this garment is who struggles with trying to get their zipper connected at the bottom, right? We all do it anyway, right?
Yeah.
What's really cool about this one is that it actually is magnetic. So it just pops right in, and then you're ready to go to zip it up, which is so cool. So it makes it a lot easier for someone that maybe needs assistance getting dressed or dressing themselves.
Yeah.
Now, with the denim and that Taylor's wearing, what's really cool is that they actually open up on the side.
Okay.
So with a lot of pants, if someone is like, if they need assistance getting dressed, they need a little extra space when it comes to sliding it on. So when it opens up on both sides of the garment, they can be easily slid on to the body.
Yes.
And then what's really cool on the bottom with Taylor's pants is that they're actually all magnetized. So this will help either to create two different looks, whether we need a little extra room to get over that when they're putting it on over the shoe or over the foot. Now what's great about the shoe too is that the shoe actually opens from all the way around on the side. So this is really great. So the foot can just slide fully into
so
the
I don't know
shoe.
if you can see this one better, but there's literally a zipper all the way down across the side of the shoe. So the whole shoe is going to fold off.
Exactly.
Which is going to make it a little bit easier. And if you don't mind, Miles, if you could show that camera the side buttons. You don't even have to snap them together. They're magnetic, right?
Exactly.
So they find each other.
Yes.
And there's something about getting in from the side. You said, like if you're laying down.
Exactly. It's easier to slide in just to have a bit more space. Because when you think about when we open up the front, we don't really have that much extra room when it opens up in the front. So this way they open up on both sides. So you have that.
Oh, I love that.
Makes it a lot easier.
Taylor, as someone living with a spinal cord injury, what are the key things that you're looking for in your clothing?
One of the major things is that I want to make sure that when I'm sitting down, that nothing is creating any pressure points for me, because that could be really dangerous. So especially with jeans, I kind of avoid them most times. But these jeans are great because they don't have any buttons or buckles on the back of the pants when I'm sitting down all day.
Yeah, you are all of us when we thought about putting on hard pants again after the pandemic, right? But for some people, it's going to be more dangerous than others. So you really need it to be soft.
Absolutely.
And behind, too, right?
Absolutely.
Very nice. Thanks, Taylor. She's actually going to come back. We're going to chat more with her a little bit later in the show. But for now, we're going to welcome our next model. So thank you so much. Can we give Taylor some love? Nice modeling. Let's welcome Mara. and she's with Alexa, the designer of her look. I love this. Just a stunning duo. There's something about this look.
Right?
So talk to me about what they're wearing.
So Alexa
Hello.
owns this amazing fashion brand called Design, and what's so cool is that the the little beads that you see on the garments is actually Braille.
Wow.
So each piece either it has like an inspirational quote. The dress that I'm wearing today has 10 women that have visual impairment describing the color blue. So that's what this dress says, which is really cool. I'm going to pass it over to Alexa though to talk a little bit about the other pieces and what they say.
Yeah, so today Mara's wearing one of our black crop tops with long sleeves, and all of the white braille on her shirt has a really important message and really showcases what we stand for at iDesign. The braille here reads, "Make inclusion an expectation, not an exception." Blindness does not have a certain look or feel. Disabilities do not define us, we define ourselves. So really making sure that that fashion-forward element and what we value as people is being showcased in a fashionable style.
That's very cool. Do you mind if I touch? Oh, that is so
And all the pieces are just so elevated. You know, they're not like just sweatpants, right?
Oh,
like
yes.
it is these gorgeous pieces that I want to wear out like to an event, you know?
I saw your dress and I thought, oh, nice graphic design.
Yes.
Did not think they were words. So that is very
Totally.
cool. Give it up for Mara and Alexa. Thank you so much to both of you. Thank you. Very nice. Okay, next up we have Spencer. So Spencer is a content creator and a disability advocate. I'm a fan. We're going to chat a little bit more a little bit later. Spencer, welcome.
Thank you.
Talk to me, Miles, about how you have styled Spencer.
Yes. So for Spencer's look, we actually got to partner with Is Adaptive, which she has been a pioneer when it comes to adaptive clothing, especially in Canada. She started adaptive clothing basically when there was almost nothing available in the entire world. So Izzy Camilleri is so amazing. So specifically with Spencer's trench coat, the big kind of pieces is that it's shorter in the front and the back, so it's not like going to interfere with the wheelchair, but it's a little wider on the sides too, so that you get that protection, you know, as he's wearing it. He's also wearing a sweater by Izzy that it it magnetizes in the back, so it's a lot easier to put it on. Or if someone needed if they needed help assisted dressing, there's a zipper, or often a lot of times her jackets are completely open in the back, just with like really comfortable straps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. We had Izzy Camilleri on the show like ages ago, and so it's nice that there are other brands that have kind of catching up to adaptable fashion. So Spencer, you worked one-on-one with a designer. What was the sort of messaging that you wanted? What were you looking for in a look that you would wear, I don't know, day to day or events, anything?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I can't just buy anything off the rack, right? And
Yeah.
specifically a coat like this. So I was looking for a coat that I could wear that was dressier, that would actually fit my body. And it's taken me literally 42 years to find that. And Izzy Camilleri did that, which was so amazing.
I love that. Now, who did your glasses? Those are good.
They're Ray-Ban.
Oh, they're so good. It's the frames on them. I love that. Okay,
you.
thanks, Spencer.
Thank you.
Spencer will be back in a little bit. For a talk. Oh, they're so good. Okay, lastly, let's talk about the look our model Maddie is wearing. Come on out, Maddie. I love this. The color of the season.
Right?
Red, 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 right? And it flows.
So
Very nice.
this piece is a really cool collaboration between Arthritis Society Canada and David Dixon. So again, I think a lot of people don't realize that arthritis is also a physical disability, and you know, Maddie has a form of arthritis. So pieces are really important, especially when getting dressed. So having drapier fabrics, larger neck holes that don't have buttons or clasps or zippers can be really difficult to get dressed. The elastic band on the pant is easy to put on, so you're not fighting with those zippers to be able to hold on to it. Now, on this dress, I think a really big piece, and I wish all dresses had this, was the really long cord. How many times have we struggled trying to put our dress on, right?
Yes.
It's absolutely brutal. So having these sort of types of details are really, really helpful, not only for people with arthritis, but any type of adaptive clothing, and I feel like a lot of people could benefit from it as well.
We have talked about the zipper conundrum so many times on this
Totally.
show. Every dress should have. What if you were living alone in your house and you cannot get that zipper
I have literally been trapped in a dress.
Right?
I had to sleep in it and wait till the
or you
next day.
can't get it up. Sometimes I show up at events and I'm like, someone, anyone?
Yeah.
Because no one was home. So thank you so much for this. Thank you so much to the incredible models. We're going to go to break now, but don't go anywhere because we have so much more coming up. Stay with us, everybody. Coming up, Chef Matt is all about the garlic.
Garlic is life. We can maybe make t-shirts.
Welcome back, everyone. Halloween just around the corner, so it's only fitting that we have the one and only Chef MDP in the kitchen, whipping up some ghoulish garlic lover recipes because we have to scare away the vampires, right, Maddie?
We do. We got to scare away the vampires.
We don't want them around. So are you
sucking our blood?
Sucking our
blood.
We have nice blood. Are you a garlic lover?
I am. You know what? Garlic for me is just something. It's so, universal. You can put it in everything. Garlic is life.
It's life.
We could maybe make t-shirts and, sell them for charity or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. You know what I mean? It's such an element that you should have in, your pantry or fridge at all times. And there's so many different variations of garlic that I'll walk you through a couple here.
Yeah.
It's great.
What is the recipe that we are going to make right now?
Yeah, so we're doing this is our ghoulish garlic setup, and it is obviously for Halloween. Yes, very ghoulishy. So we've got a little green in there we'll talk to, but this is a it is a creamy roasted garlic spinach orzo dish.
Ooh.
Orzo, do you know it?
I know
it's a
orzo.
Fun word.
Yes, I do know orzo. Do I cook
ouzo,
with it often?
Not the shot ouzo. Not to be confused with another good friend of mine, ouzo. Yeah. Orzo. So orzo is a pasta. It is a very short grain Italian pasta.
Yeah.
So we've got this beautiful
looks
sort
almost
of
like rice.
It really does. It's a beautiful little short grain. It looks like rice. It could be substituted for couscous. It could be substituted for rice dishes. Orzo is such an important dish. It's very universal. Put it in your pantry and away you go. It sucks up everything. If somebody is sometimes confused with orzo, think about a Boreal rice. Yes. Very similar. You could swap them. A Boreal rice we know because of risotto. And everybody that makes risotto at home is fancy, and that takes a long time.
It's very fancy.
And the rule number one with risotto is you have to stand for 45 minutes and continually stir.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't even take your eye on it. Don't breathe on it.
Don't touch that dial.
Don't roll your eyes.
Don't roll your eyes. Don't have a sip of wine. You can't have fun. Risotto is a no fun party dish. This dish that we're doing, Trace, is all fun. This is our garlicky ghoul, garlic dish where, again, creamy, roasted garlic being the show and the star. But this is an easy one-pan, one-pot dish.
So how do we get started on this dish?
Let's rock and roll. So please step in if you choose to.
You can boss me around.
Thank you very much. So we're just going to go in a tablespoon or two of good oil. So we've got our oil in here. Let's just turn that up just a wee bit. Butter, unsalted butter. There's a little spoon if you need to. And another one here. Nice thing we set it up.
A little splash.
Little splash. So we're just going to bring that together. Next is our onion. So we're going to throw a white onion. You can use a half onion, full onion. I've used a small full onion in here. So those are just going to come together. And again, that's usually, we're on TV. So of course we've got a beautiful one ready to go. And I know you're going to want to try it.
I absolutely am. But onions, I probably are just like a very close second to me, to garlic. So thank God I'm not out there single and dating.
Right?
Huh?
Well, you know
who's going to date me with my garlic onion now?
I would, because also this is something I love too. This is right in my wheelhouse. But you're right. My mom always says, Maddie, before I'd go out for something, whether an event or something, I was living back home as a teenager, she said, are you having garlic tonight? I said, maybe we'll have pizza or something. Yeah, she's like, make sure the person you're with also has garlic.
Yes.
Because it's important, right?
We need to be garlicky together.
You could be. So we're just going to let that get together. Again, we're sauteing that down. If we're doing this in the kitchen, in your kitchen as well, 2 to 3 minutes, you're sauteing. You don't necessarily have to brown. Oregano. I like this. We're going Italian. Again, optional. Some people do not like. I'm going to get you to throw a little stir on there for me. Yep. The star of the show, garlic. A few different ways you can do garlic. We have our Ontario garlic here to your right. Beautiful. We actually over here as well have a lovely garlic dish that you can do for leftovers. Parmigiano Reggiano. That's right, my Italian.
Please don't at me, Italian viewers. I'm sorry.
My Italian side of the family is going to kill me for messing that up. Parm. Extra virgin olive oil, garlic, little chili flakes. You make a dip. It's a bread dip. It's stunning. Again, garlic can be used. We're going to go 4 tablespoons of chopped garlic here.
Okay.
So look at that. That is just beautiful. Again, coming together. Orzo being a dried pasta. We're going to actually toast it. Everybody I told you goes right in the pot here.
Okay.
So bring that together. If you're doing this in your kitchen, I would let that toast. We're toasting the pasta. We're getting all the flavors together. I want that sort of to bind, and you're all set. So this would be about 2-3 minutes.
Yep.
Next up, we're going to put chicken stock. You can put any stock you'd like.
Okay.
I like, vegetable stock. I was a wild person there. Please do a little stir. Vegetable stock. You could use chicken.
Okay.
Heavy cream. So we're
'Cause
going to
it's
do
creamy.
a full case. We're going to
full
do
case of cream, please.
I've got the yip talks here going on. This is fun. First time on TV. Hi, Chef Matt Dean Pettit. Nice to meet you at home.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Hi, welcome Cityline family. That's going to come together. The nice thing about this is going to be creamy. We call it the creamy roasted. Next up, so this is going to cook for 10 minutes. You would let that come to a wee bit of a boil.
Yeah.
Once it hits a boil, like anything, if you're making pasta, remove it from the heat.
Got it.
So we would remove this from the heat.
Yep.
Let's talk about this. This is when our cheese, Parmesan Reggiano, a cup or two. Put as much as you want.
Yep.
Again, let's make this healthy.
Yep.
Right? And it's green. This is our goulash part.
Yep.
This is for Halloween. So we have our garlic, we have our star, we have spinach in here.
We're putting the spinach and the cheese in at the very end. Why, Chef?
Because you don't want to wilt it, you don't want to kill it, you just want those flavors to be there.
Yeah.
Again, this is going in at the very end. Salt, pepper to taste.
Yeah.
I would put, you can cover that, you can let that sit. Give me that spoon if you don't mind, please.
Go for
Thank you, sous chef. And I'm just going to let that sort of come together, right?
Well, you can still, I look at food now, and I know that the chefs are like, it's not perfect, don't touch it. But that's like $500 at the grocery store.
100% it is.
So we're going to cook that during the commercial break.
We are.
And you have this already done, which looks amazing.
We've got in live time, if we were cooking, this would be, again, 10 minutes, maybe another 10 minutes, covered, set. It's just going to start to thicken up.
Yeah.
This is all in one pan. You're ready to go. Here's our finished dish. This is beautiful. You've got the creaminess. You've got the garlic. You've got everything here. This is essentially like, let's just jump in.
Okay, let's do it. I just wanted Megs to be able to get that shot there.
I think we should. Hope you don't mind smelling like garlic all day.
Don't mind at all. It's delicious. Oh, it's so good.
Very good.
Okay, the recipe at cityline.tv. We're going to break. I have to eat more of this. We'll be right back.
Good, right?
Coming up, how to be an ally to those with disabilities.
And when you're questioning someone's privilege, it's jarring and it's scary because they've never realized that that's something that they've been taking for granted their whole life.
Welcome back, everyone. Earlier in the show, we met Spencer West and Taylor Lindsay Noel, two social media creators making waves, advocating for a more inclusive and more inclusivity and accessibility. I'll get the words out eventually. So we're going to chat with them about how they navigate the world, how we can be better allies. That's what I'm interested in to the disabled community. Spencer and Taylor, welcome back. Everyone give them some love. You both are very vulnerable on your social media. You talk about your personal journeys. You give us a lot of information about what you go through on a day-to-day basis. So how do you handle people asking invasive questions? And Taylor, I'll start with you.
It's certainly not the easiest thing, but I have decided to create a platform where I want to be that approachable person because I know that people have so many questions. And I also had the experience being able-bodied beforehand and now having a disability. So I am a little bit empathetic to people who do have questions but don't know who to ask. So I am that person, you can ask me, but that is not the journey for everybody. So it's something to be mindful of.
Do you ever have to take a deep breath and just be like, Lord, help me through this one?
Almost every day.
All the time.
Almost every day,
Yeah.
but deep breathing really helps.
Yes. Okay, Spencer, I see some comments on your posts, and I mean, you're great because you bring them up yourself. People ask you, how do you go to the washroom? How do you have sex? All of these things. If that happens in the public sphere, like how do you handle that?
Yeah, online I make really funny videos about it just to like break up the absurdity about these questions that disabled people get all the time that you wouldn't ask a non-disabled person. So when it's in an educational space like that, I've set that up, or how we're here today with this conversation, I'm fine to address those things. But when I'm like buying my groceries, I don't want to talk to you about my body or about like my sex life or any of those things. Those are very personal things that you wouldn't normally ask someone else. Plus, when you're asking someone about their disability, oftentimes you're asking them to relive trauma in front of you. And I don't always want to do that with strangers.
The other thing you mentioned, which I thought was an interesting point for us all to sort of chew on, was a lot of folks will say, well, my cousin also uses a wheelchair, and this is what happened to my cousin. And you said maybe we shouldn't be randomly throwing around other people's trauma as well as an attempt to try and connect with you.
Yeah, and there's always this like little bit of like a weird thing where it's like, do you know them? And I'm like, we don't all know each other. Like, you know?
Don't you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Okay, well, I want to know, what do you want people to know about you? People might look at you and make certain assumptions, but what do you want people to know about you when they see you and meet you?
I think the biggest thing is that we're just like anybody else. We have the same wants, needs, desires. We go out, we have fun, we have friends, we have sex lives, we have relationships. We get married, we're business people. We are everything that anybody else can be. And our bodies just are a little bit different.
That's right. How about you, Spencer?
Yeah, I mean, I echo everything that Taylor said. I think so often we're viewed as people that are stuck at home somewhere, or that's the only life that we want to live. And we want all the other things that non-disabled people want.
Okay, sometimes non-disabled folks avoid using the words disability or disabled. So this is going to be good information for all of us. Instead, folks will use terms like differently abled or special needs. Why might that do more harm than good, do you think?
Well, I think disability isn't a negative word, and we've been taught that, and we're trying to sort of reframe what that looks like. For me, I prefer the terms disabled or non-disabled because statistically, we're all going to experience disability at some point in our lives, whether that's temporary or permanently.
Yeah.
So this is something that everyone it'll touch their lives in some capacity. So I think if we get comfortable using those terms, and then we hear terms like special needs, for me, I'm like, these are just basic human rights. They're not special. And so let's just call them what they are.
Yeah. Taylor, how do you feel about the terminology?
I think people get really scared about the word disabled, and it's nothing to fear because, like Spencer said, it is something that happens. It's part of the human experience. If you're blessed to make it to 90, you're gonna probably have a walker. You might need some glasses. Everybody will experience it at some point, so it's nothing to be scared of, nothing to try to change up the terminology. It is what it is, and it's part of the human experience.
Absolutely. I remember the first time somebody said, or I read that everyone is going to experience being disabled at some point in their life if you are, as you said, Taylor, lucky enough to get to a certain age.
Yeah.
Things like glasses are disability aids. All of these things are part of the human experience. So instead of making it very divisive, we all need to be working towards making the world work for all of us because we are all going to be there. So diving into the marginalized groups a little bit, I want to talk about intersectionality. There are many things to think about when it comes to intersectionality. So Taylor, how does your identity as a Black disabled woman, how does that inform your life?
It shapes everything I do. It's part of my identity, and it helps me navigate the world with quite a few different lenses, and I think it's something special and something that should be celebrated. I'm very proud to be Black, I'm very proud to be a woman, and I'm very proud to be disabled. And I think it's something that people should step more in their truth about and not shy away from.
You can't take one of those things away from the identity. They're all equally important.
All equally important. I couldn't say it better.
Yeah. And Spencer, for you, you have an interesting perspective as a queer disabled man. So talk to me a little bit about that, how that informs your life.
Yeah, as Taylor mentioned earlier, so often people don't even see disabled folks as wanting love or wanting to have like a physical romantic relationship. So then the idea that we're not all heterosexual is like so shocking for people. But what, you're disabled and gay? Like, how can that be?
You have to pick one.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And so for me, it's like it's really important that we are visible if it's safe and we're able to do so that people understand we have the same range of experiences and emotions as non-disabled folks. And it comes with a lot of really different nuanced experiences. A lot of queer spaces are not accessible. And a lot of gay men get really obsessed with what our bodies look like. And so being disabled, that brings its own set of challenges in our own community as well.
Absolutely. Taylor, you do a lot of accessibility reviews of Toronto restaurants.
Yes.
So, which I think is such a cool thing that you're doing. Tell me about where that idea came from and what the response has been like.
The idea started in COVID when my friends and I were dying to go back out, like so many of us.
Yes.
And we kept talking about going to one place. And it was because that one place was safe for me. I knew what the accessibility was like. I knew what to expect. And I was sick and tired of going to places and showing up and not being able to access the spaces. But I decided to kind of take on that challenge of, if I put this on video and people actually see what I go through and what Spencer and I go through when we just go out for a regular night out, they might be a little bit more empathetic and open their eyes to, wow, we really aren't as accessible as we think we are. And that kind of started the ball rolling and how Access by Tay got started. And it's been a really, really fun year and a half of putting the spotlight on accessibility.
Do you find, like, do you think you're moving the needle at all? I think you will, but you already are.
Yeah, I've noticed real life change. I've seen it with restaurants that I go back to, and they've made the changes that I've suggested. I think just even having the conversation, the space, and the platform to be able to talk about this is moving it in the right direction for sure.
Beautiful. And Spencer, you have actually highlighted on your page a few times where there's the promise of accessibility, but the reality is it's not working out. People don't respond very well to some of the tips you've been giving the general followers. So talk to me a little bit about what you might find when you go out, expectations versus reality, and why do you think people are responding, how people are responding the way they do?
Totally. So one of the things that I say, if you really want to be an ally to the disabled community, if you're in a space where there's stairs or an escalator or an elevator, and you can physically take the stairs or the escalator, take those and leave the elevator for us, because that's the only option that we have. And the same if you're in a washroom, if there's an accessible stall and you don't actually need it, leave it for someone that does. But when you say that to folks, it's very jarring. People get really angry about, how dare you, you can't tell me what to use and what I should or shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
And when you're questioning someone's privilege, it's jarring and it's scary because they've never realized that that's something that they've been taking for granted their whole life.
Yeah, it's just interesting to me that the reaction is anger.
Totally.
Because I understand things being jarring, and I understand seeing things from a new perspective for a second, but I don't necessarily understand why it's going to be a pushback of rage. Can it be a moment of silence, maybe, to think about things and to rethink the perspective? Like, I could go into a little bit of a rant about social media right now because I don't feel like it's become a space that welcomes nuanced conversation. And I don't feel that different ideas are put out there, that we've lost sort of arguing in good faith. So things get very low very quickly. Yeah. But it's interesting that that would be sort of people's reaction to that. And maybe we can talk a little bit about when you do go out into the world and things are not working out the way they should. So a lot of businesses will say, it's accessible. You're going to be able to get to where you need to. And the reality is you can't.
We were just having a conversation about an accessible restaurant backstage. It's a really big part of our daily thought process. You have to make a phone call to make sure it's accessible. You have to check online. And the thing, we do all these checks and balances, and then when you get there, they say they're accessible, and then there's 2 steps to get in, and they're like, oh, it's just 2 steps. It's like, no, that are you gonna lift 500 pounds? And no, I don't want you to touch my wheelchair and lift me, you know what I mean? There's safety precautions when you do things like that, and it could really derail somebody's entire day. You have nurses that you plan your day around. You have taxis that are almost impossible to get in the city, and you finally get to the place and it's not accessible. It ruins your entire day. And I think people need to realize it's not just one step. It's really making the entire space not accessible to people like us.
Thanks to both of you for all of this, and just so many takeaways. And I think it's a conversation that we need to have several times on the show. So Taylor and Spencer, thank you so much for sharing with us and being so candid all the time. We're learning. Thank you. Okay, let's go to break. We've got more coming up after this. Stay with us. That was great. Thank you. Coming up, are you spending money you don't even know you're spending?
There was a recent survey that found 42% of respondents had all these subscriptions and forgot about them.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, we all know how easy it is to sign up for subscription services, but when's the last time you purged your purchases? I don't even know if I want to think about that for my case. Consider this an intervention because financial expert Bruce Sellery is here.
Hello, Tracy.
He's going to manage our subscription addiction, and it is an addiction because it is just so easy. So let's talk about why subscription services are really big money for businesses.
They're great for them because they sell one customer instead of selling 12, right? So it's an easy way to guarantee revenue over time. And for us as consumers, it reduces the number of decisions we need to make. Like, oh, what am I going to watch tonight? If you have every single streaming service out there, you watch whatever you want. It's difficult, though, for us to do the calculation, right? Because it feels cheaper. Like, oh my gosh, it's only $10 a month, no big deal. That's $120 a year. So it's a really big thing. So we think about, you know, our primary addictions. It's things like Instagram and coffee. And it's subscriptions. It's subscriptions.
It's subscriptions.
100%.
It absolutely is. It is so easy to just click on it and say, oh, well, I'll cancel it later. We're going to get into how to cancel because it can be hard.
Yeah, very hard.
Okay, what's the problem with seemingly minimizing these purchases and these expenses short term?
Well, if you love your subscriptions and you have all the money in the world, there is no problem. You should have more subscriptions. You should sign up for everything. But the reality is most people don't have an infinite amount of money, and they've kind of lost the plot on what they have. The second problem is we don't love them all. Like if we did one thing, we don't. There was a recent survey that found 42% of respondents had all these subscriptions and forgot about them. They just had no idea that they still had them until they went to their credit card and looked and like, oh, I remember all these things.
Yeah, so we're supposed to actually look at that credit card bill,
We're supposed to look at it,
and like itemize, like look at that list and see where the money's going. Like the thought of it just makes my stomach flip. So how do these subscription payments add up over time? Let's talk about the math.
Oh, they really add up. So I talked to some audience members beforehand, and two brave souls are willing to talk about their subscriptions. We're going to talk to Lola first, who is like, oh, okay, like hoping for an intervention here, but also a little horrified. So Lola, hello, Lola. You have lots of streaming services. You've got Starz, Netflix, Apple Music, Crave, Disney, Spotify, SiriusXM, and a YouTuber that you love that I have never heard about. When we went through all your subscriptions, how did you feel? I don't judge you for a second, but were you kind of a little surprised / mortified?
I was disgusted.
Disgusted. What was one of the ones that you would keep till your dying day that you would never go without?
My Apple Music.
Apple Music, right? So Lola's total was $230. Big number. And Lola, what I love about what you said is you were like, but I have to keep current.
Right.
So the justification, and of course you have a business and all that, but for Lola, there's things like domain names online and web hosting and all those sorts of things. The second audience member we spoke to is Crystal.
Before you say anything, Crystal, Lola, I have the same list. Literally the same list of subscription services. I just want you to know, girl, you are not alone. Lola is all of us. It's like every
makes sense now.
Right? Every streaming service has one show you want to watch.
That's right.
So it's like you end up getting the service. Okay, sorry. Crystal.
And then you forget to cancel. So Crystal's joining us from Newfoundland, which is spectacular. We love that you're here.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Crystal's got the list of streaming services, but an interesting one she flagged that I think we'd forget about is the security subscription on our computer. Right, Crystal? And you also have a gift box that comes to you. Tell us about that gift box and why do you have it? You love it.
I love it. It's Ipsy Glam Bag. Sorry for giving them a plug. But it's every month I get a little samples of different things, and it's the hope that eventually, you know, I may probably purchase a full-size product for $30 or $40. But I get it every month, and I enjoy the little things. And then all my nieces and nephews, well, especially my nieces, they all get something at Christmas time from the bags that I don't use.
Nice, nice. So here we like, oh, Crystal, so nice. It's $154 a month. Crystal's like, wait a second. And Crystal said to me, she's like, I am thinking about retiring one day. And so this is not great news. It's streaming services. It's cloud storage. It's dating websites. It's meal kit delivery, gym memberships, all the things. And for me, I get a physical magazine delivered, which I love. I'm not going to stop doing that. It's just we need to get really rigorous about the ones that make us happiest.
Thanks for your vulnerability and candor, audience. I want to know, how do we get our subscriptions under control? What do we need to do?
Okay, the first thing we have to do is find them, right? Because we're like, la, 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 la. So you have to go through your credit card, circle the subscriptions, find them, and then tally them up. So some are monthly, some are annual. And I actually have a bigger problem with the annual ones because I don't notice them. I got hit with a $400 bill for a web hosting service for a website I didn't even run anymore, right? Like, it was like, how did that even happen? I'm Bruce Sellery, Cityline's financial expert. How did this even happen to me?
Yeah.
The third thing is prioritize. So choose 3 or 4. 5 of the ones that you really, really love.
Yeah.
And if you're in a partnership with someone else, you may find, listen, we really could share Amazon Prime or Netflix, and then cancel the rest.
Yeah.
Because remember, you can always add them back. If you're like, I totally missed that thing, then you can resubscribe. They would be very happy to have you back.
I love that idea. Get rid of it, and if you miss it, add it back in.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it is sort of hard sometimes to cancel your subscriptions.
They make it really hard.
Yeah.
Really, really hard. I signed up for a $2 trial for a news site, and to cancel was not one click. I had to call a call center during business hours and wait on hold. With my kid, they had a subscription in Minecraft. I could see it in my credit card, and I practically had to become a master Minecraft player to go and find where that subscription was. I was like, I can't find it anywhere. And I think there is a real role for regulations here, because there are, they call them dark patterns or deceptive patterns, where websites make it hard for us to cancel. We're kind of in a maze. So maybe there'll be some regulations that will help us. But until that time, we need to help ourselves, find them, prioritize, cancel the ones you don't absolutely
in the meantime, Lola and I are just going to listen to our Apple Music. Okay.
That's right.
Really good information there. Thank you. Let's go to break. We got more coming up. Stay with us. Coming up, the tips you need to avoid cold and flu season. For starters, stop touching your face. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Look, I just did it again.
Cityline's Wellness Wednesdays is brought to you in partnership with Jameson Vitamins. For everyday immune support, Jameson is here for your health.
Welcome back, everyone. Coughing and sneezing season is upon us. So here with secrets to beat a cold and tips to prevent getting sick in the first place, which is what we all want. Culinary nutritionist Trudy Stone joins us. Hi, Trudy. Hi, Tracy. Looking fabulous as always. So we're talking a little bit about germ hotspots today in this segment. So what are we talking about? What do you mean by that? What is a germ hotspot?
Well, good hygiene practices are especially important during cold and flu season. Think about how many surfaces we touch every single day. Doorknobs, our cell phone, money, all of these surfaces are covered in germs. And these germs can easily get transferred from our hands into our body through our eyes, our nose, and our mouth. And there was a study, Tracy, that showed that on average, people touch their T-zone, so right here, 69 times per hour.
Okay, I'd love to be judgy, but it's me, okay? We're all guilty of touching germy surfaces in our faces, but our producers caught me being nasty on set. So let's just take a look. Just look. Good? Ready to have some fun? Okay. I want to go where you go, Lori. I feel like this is for you.
Amazing. And then we can go ahead and add a little bit of whip. I'll add the whip.
And it gives you the mustache that you want.
It does.
I think it's totally worth the mustache. We'll be right back. I think the thing about PSL that sometimes, and that's pumpkin spice latte, everyone.
And now.
Keep walking, girl. Oh my goodness. Thank you for getting candid with us, everyone. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Look, I just did it again. It's what we do, though, right? Like, I'm a touchy-feely person, but you kind of have to be conscious about not touching the things and touching your face and then hugging Trudy, right?
Yes.
So what do we do to slow the spread of germs, my friend?
Well, avoiding touching our face.
Yeah. That's a good one. I should try that.
Avoiding close contact with sick individuals and regular hand washing as well.
Yes.
And there's studies that show us that people that are deficient in vitamin D are actually more likely to get infections.
Okay.
But additionally, Tracy, about 70% of Canadians are insufficient in vitamin D. But this one is so crucial to our immune health, and it's one that I take daily personally.
Yes.
And I really love Jameson Vitamin D3 because this is an all-natural gummy. And in each gummy, you're going to get 1,000 IUs of pure, naturally sourced vitamin D3 with no artificial colors or flavors, so it's perfect to support your immune health.
Very good. You've got to be taking them, especially up here in North America. We hear all of the time about our vitamin D deficiency. So, next secret revealed. You say stress is a big reason we get sick. We really have to manage our stress.
Absolutely. Like, there's so many activities during the fall season, and we're also trying to reestablish regular routines. And stress can really compromise your immune system. So you want to do things daily to build in a stress management habit. So that could be, going for a nice walk, taking in all of the beautiful fall foliage, pulling up a funny YouTube video and just having a great laugh, or even just meditating for just 5 minutes. You don't need to sit and meditate for an hour. So stress is really important to manage because it really compromises our immune system, like I mentioned earlier. So you want to reach for sources of vitamin C, because vitamin C really is a really powerful aid and antioxidant to help to support your immune health. And I really like these vitamin C chewables because they're a tasty, convenient way to reap all the benefits of vitamin C with no artificial colors or flavors, and it comes in this delicious, juicy white peach flavor.
Oof, very good. This is my morning right here, the C and the D. Very good. So we should prioritize our nutrition as well, right? You need to be eating the foods that are going to keep us from getting sick and help us get well a bit faster. So what are some ways we can do that?
Yeah, well, when you eat in-season foods, you actually help your body to adjust to the changing climate. So for cold and flu prevention, you want to reach for those in-season foods like apples, pears, which always get overlooked, butternut squash, sweet potatoes, beets. All of these contain an abundance of nutrients for your overall health, as well as supporting your immune health. Now, when you get sick, you want to reach for foods that have those antimicrobial properties. So garlic offers the most, followed by ginger. I love a nice hot cup of ginger when I'm sick because studies show us that actually it helps to alleviate some of those upper respiratory tract infection and those symptoms that come along with that.
It's so good when you naturally like that stuff anyways, right? The ginger and the garlic. I could have garlic all day.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I love
everything. But I also reach for echinacea as well because echinacea is becoming one of the most popular over-the-counter herbal remedies, and I love Jameson echinacea because Jameson echinacea is an organic formula. It's an organic high-potency formula that helps to shorten the duration of colds while helping to fight those upper respiratory tract infections.
It's what we all need, right? Okay, let's talk about sleep.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorite topics ever because sleep is really important to fight sickness. It makes us nicer people.
It does. It does.
But it's also hard to sleep when you're sick, right? So what can we do about this catch-22?
Yeah, well, you're right. That transition from summer to fall, it can mean that we're more susceptible to illness. So we want to get adequate sleep to support our overall immune health. Now, when you are sick, like you mentioned, it can be hard to get a good night's sleep due to all those cold symptoms. So one of my go-tos is zinc. Now, when I was sick last season, these Jameson zinc lozenges were my go-to. Now, what I love about them is that they're quick dissolving without that yucky zinc aftertaste. So it allows you to have a better night's sleep because it's going to help you to provide that soothing, natural relief of those cold symptoms like the dry and the sore throat. But for maintenance, I also like reaching for a lot of these food sources that are high in zinc that you see here, and there's so many of them. Lentils, which I tuck into a nice comforting soup, pumpkin seeds, nuts and seeds as well.
Okay, really good. So now you've got everything you need to keep yourself healthy this season. Great tips, Trudy. Thank you so much for that. And we've got even better news. Jameson Vitamins are giving away a $250 gift card to one lucky member of our audience. So, yes, we'll draw for that later. For more ways to tackle cold season, visit cityline.tv. We're headed to break. We'll be right back. Well done. It's time to join the party. We want to shower you with fun, prizes, and unbelievable surprises. Are you ready for this? Head to cityline.tv/tickets and see the show you love come to life. That's all for our show today. Thank you to all of our wonderful viewers watching at home, and of course, this amazing audience. You're fun. You're a lot of fun. Thank you for joining us today